Elasticity of demand is how responsive the quantity demanded is to changes in price. There are 4 ways to determine elasticity. First is using graphs. Inelastic graphs are more vertical, and perfectly inelastic or zero price elasticity of demand is completely vertical. The way to remember this is that an inelastic graph will match the letter I in the word inelastic. Inelasticity means that an increase in price would lead to more revenue. Elastic graphs are more horizontal, and perfectly elastic or infinite price elasticity of demand is completely horizontal. Elasticity means that a decrease in price would lead to more revenue. The same applies to supply, meaning when the graph is more vertical, it is inelastic, and when the graph is more horizontal, it is elastic. In terms of monopolies, when the MR is positive, aka above the x-axis, demand is elastic. When it's zero, aka crossing the x-axis, it's unit elastic, and when it's negative, aka below the x-axis, it's inelastic. The second way to determine elasticity is by using the revenue test. Revenue equals price times quantity represented by the area under the graph. When price and revenue both increase or both decrease, it's inelastic. When price and revenue change in different directions, it's elastic. The third way is by using the midpoint formula. You can use this long formula, or you can use the percentage change formula, which is the fourth way for finding elasticity. You can use this shorter formula, which basically tells you the same thing as the midpoint formula. If the percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in price is less than 1, it's inelastic. If it's greater than 1, it's elastic, and if it equals 1, it's unit elastic. Factors that affect elasticity include percent of income, that's how a good's price is compared to your income, necessity, how much you need the good, number of substitutes available, amount of other options, market scope, how broad or how narrow the market is defined as, and time frame, how quickly you need the good. Inelastic goods are goods that take a small percentage of one's income, are necessary, have few substitutes, are in a broad market, and the consumer has a short time frame to purchase them in. Elastic goods are goods that take a large percentage of one's income, are considered more of luxury goods, have many available substitutes, are in a narrow market, and the consumer has a longer time frame to purchase them in. Cross-price elasticity is the percent change in the quantity of good A divided by the percent change in the price of good B. This is used to determine whether two goods are substitutes or complements. If the answer is negative, the goods are complements. If the answer is positive, the goods are substitutes. If the answer is 0, then the goods are just not related. Income elasticity is the percent change in quantity demanded divided by the percent change in income. This is used to determine whether a good is normal or inferior. If the answer is negative, the good is inferior. If the answer is positive, the good is normal. We can use these number lines to determine the characteristics of goods based on the equations we use for elasticity of demand, cross price, and income elasticity. When the demand is more inelastic, the consumers bear more of the tax burden and the producers bear less. When the demand is more elastic, the consumers bear less of the tax burden and the consumers bear more. The same applies to supply. When the supply is more inelastic, the producers bear more of the tax burden and the consumers bear less. And when the supply is more elastic, the producers bear less of the tax burden and the consumers bear more. As a rule, the least flexible carries the biggest burden regardless of who the tax is being placed on.
Inelasticity is where taxpayers spend most of their days taking on the burden because of their ways. Quantity goes down a little, price goes down a lot.
Wait, isn't that fine?
No, you thought. Now you're paying all the taxes, you're parallel to the y-axis. Doesn't matter who is taxed, the least flexible, it's the facts.